Having amazing terrain can absolutely transform your experience playing Warhammer 40k. Nobody wants to play on cardboard cutouts, broken pink hills, pieces of paper, when you have amazing 3D printed terrain from Terrainify at your disposal. This beautiful terrain comes fully built and painted in one of 22 different camo settings. You can also get it unpainted so you can make it your own hobby project, as well as just the printed STL files, so that way you can print them at home yourself. Terrainify has so many different kinds of boards. They have different themes for whatever kind of battle you could possibly want to create. We've used Terrainify in our games to play very functional, high-level competitive Warhammer. This terrain is both beautiful, fun to play with, and very user-friendly. Terrainify is on a mission to elevate the quality of terrain that people play with worldwide. If you want to play on better terrain, you can support them directly on Patreon for just $3 a month. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to Terrainify.com, use discount code ArtofWar25 for 25% off your order, and start creating the boards you've always wanted to play on.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another Art of War tier list Wednesday.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, it's a tier list on a Wednesday.
It's a what whoa Wednesday, a what whoa waggy Wednesday, because we had some technical issues. We had some gremlins in the pipes. The machine spirit was upset.
It's the Nurglings.
It's the Nurgling
infestation. Yeah.
Siegs got in here and he talked to the machine spirit. He mentioned some words to me, some incantations about bit rates and whatnot, and encoder. I might be making all that up. I don't even know.
Yes.
He said some things to me that made no sense, and now our stream is working.
Yeah. So we're back. We got the computer up and running again. We are here giving you a tier list. Apologies to everyone who was excited to view it yesterday. I assure you, we were also excited.
Yes, the waiting makes it all that sweeter.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? We've still got a great video for you. So we're going to be here ranking all of the best sub-factions in Arks of Omen. You excited for this one?
Yeah, I absolutely am. Sub-factions are very fun. After you get through the overall, like, anyone can play, an army. But then you get to the real heads who play, Bloody Rose, or who play...
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I'm sure they won't be anywhere in this list at all.
Exactly.
No Donkles. It was John the whole time. I don't know what you're talking about. Nick doesn't do tier lists. It's always been me.
No. Nick, the one time Nick swapped in for a tier list, it
broke.
It broke.
Clearly...
So weird.
Yeah,
so
the chaos
weird.
aura really coming off of him there. Right on. So, did we change stuff at all in that time? Do they even know what was on the tier list the first time?
They know, I think, the first thing.
All right, fair enough.
They know the first honorable mention.
Oh, okay. No, that's fair.
So as far as, yeah, sure. We spent basically the entire... No, I probably didn't think about the list after we closed the stream.
Yeah, we made it. It's ready. That's
it's ready. It's going. It cooked. Let's go.
So let's talk a little bit about how we are going to be ranking these wonderful sub-factions. So we're not just looking at what are the literal, like, in order best sub-factions based on competitive value, because then you might accidentally end up, a couple months ago we would have had like 5 Tyranids in the top 10, and that would be boring and not actually the point. So what we are talking about are the best sub-factions relative to the value of the codex.
Yeah, how much do these factions define the book, basically?
Yeah. And we're going to put another caveat on there, which is that a week and a day ago, we ranked all of the best Space Marine chapters. And for that reason, we are not ranking any Space Marine chapters in this tier list. Not a single one. So if you're thinking that there's going to be Dark Angels as number 1, that's a good thought. However, they're not going to be on the list.
Yeah, I mean, they're all so distinct from each other that they're not really sub-factions anymore. They're like... pseudo-factions. It's basically Space Marines is a super faction.
Yeah, at this point, honestly.
Dark Angels is a faction.
Pretty much is. There's Imperium and then there's Space Marines.
And if you want to know what the distinction is between a super faction, sub-faction, pseudo-faction, it's because I made them up. And so I can do whatever I want with those.
Yeah. Unfortunately, world leaders don't have sub-factions, so as much as we absolutely adore...
They technically do.
No, they don't. They have an army of renown, and no, they don't.
No, they don't call it an army of renown, so therefore it's not one. I think you'll find it doesn't. You will not find the words army of renown anywhere. You'll just find a list of benefits and restrictions.
No keywords
as well as
change.
unique upgrades and different strats.
Show me the keyword change.
Fair enough.
There you go. All right, are we ready to launch into the honorable mentions?
I think we might be willing.
And again, I feel like it's important to mention right now that we're not saying that this is one of the best sub-factions in the game. We're saying it's one of the best relative to its codex.
Yes. This one's a Nick special. I'm sad he's not here to defend his boys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
this is true. This is one of Nick's favorite armies.
He loves to put this on the schedule and play it. Mm-hmm. All right, we're looking at the Ferryman. The Ferryman out of Death Guard. So their big thing is having a 1 CP stratagem to make the Foul Blight Spawn's Revolting Stench Vats relic 12 inches instead of 6.
Yeah.
Covering 4 times the area on the tabletop.
Yeah.
4 times the models under it. A 6-inch aura is tiny. You gotta cluster up. You gotta control 0.
Wholly within 6 inches kind of looks like wholly within 5 inches because of the way the charge aura works.
Yeah, because you can just toe into 1 inch and then pile and consolidate and fight them.
Yeah.
Pile in, fight them, then consolidate. Yeah, so
it's just not the same.
You have to have everyone within 5 inches and everyone's controlling none of the board because you're all huddled together. Mm-hmm. A 12-inch aura is, you can really spread out. That's a 24-inch diameter of, don't charge.
Yeah, and that Ferryman Foul Blight spawn has literally defined the playstyle of competitive Death Guard for the past couple months. Now, there are always, other sub-factions, or I think Plague Companies, what they call them. But in this case, I think literally every single top-placing Death Guard list I have seen so far has involved the Ferryman. Because this is one of the most uniquely powerful mechanics in the game, and the fact that it's on a Death Guard army doesn't slow it down from being awesome.
Yeah, they have the droning as well, which was basically not nearly as good as people thought it was coming out. People thought it broke the game when the army came out. Mm-hmm. The droning is the contagion for half movement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember that?
That is spooky.
It's still good enough to include for sure. It's mostly the stratagem on the Foul Blight spawn, but the droning is still good enough to include. It still messes with your opponent. It's not as game breaking as everyone thought it was. Still not bad.
Still not bad.
Still not bad.
All right, we ready to move on to honorable mention number 2 before we start hitting that top 10?
Absolutely. Honorable mention number 2.
Dun dun dun.
Solar Watch. They're not painted like Solar Watch, but we get our images from GW, so they don't have any Solar Watch painted. So
yeah, that's okay.
Go with it.
Solar Watch.
Yeah. So these are Solar Watch. Solar Watch's big thing. These are wardens. People like wardens in Solar Watch. They can advance and charge with a warlord trait. They have a relic, I'm sure. I don't think it's any good. Mm-hmm. But basically, they advance and charge. They are +1 to advance, +1 to charge, I believe. As well as, you know what? I'm going to pull them up. They're very fast.
You don't know?
I don't know them off the top of my head. They're very fast.
It's also fall back in charge.
That's right.
+1 advance, +1 charge, fall back in charge. And let me tell you that their martial kata that they get to double up on, I believe is Callistus.
That is, roll 2 dice on your advance, pick the highest, and...
Oh, you're almost there. It's advance and shoot.
Advance and... Oh, sure, okay.
Look, we know which one you're doubling up on, okay?
Yeah. You roll 2 dice on your advance, and then the following turn when you need it, you roll 2 dice on your advance and shoot.
Yeah, and then the best part of Solar Watch is probably going to be that warlord trait.
Yes.
Sally Forth, which lets them in the charge phase, not command phase, which I didn't even know until I reread it. It's a charge phase selection.
That's worse, I think.
It's different.
I think it's worse. I think I'd rather... Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's definitely different. And that is that you pick an infantry unit to advance and charge. It's not core locked, so it could work on a character as well.
They do have one of the relics of all time.
Oh, yeah. Was this the straight silver Talon?
Swift Silver Talon.
Oh, so
they
close.
can shoot and charge in a turn in which it fell back. Keep in mind they can already fall back and charge. So this thing allows them to fall back and shoot with a spear that is +1 AP. Yep. Otherwise, basically identical. +1 strength, +1 AP. And it lets them fall back and shoot, and it lets them fall back and charge twice, I guess.
Yeah. And there's also their stratagem, which is really nothing at all. It's a -1 combat attrition after you kill the enemy warlord. What is it, like the Emperor's Retribution or something?
The Eagle's Strike.
Talons? Eagle's Strike.
The Eagle's Strike.
Yeah. But anyways, that's not what you're here for. You're here for you're +1 advance in charge, and you fall back in charge, and then you advance in charge.
That's a lot of X and charge.
Yeah, no, it's just always be charging.
Yeah, 2d6, pick the highest, +1 on your advance, and then charge. Mm-hmm. That is legitimately good. Liam Hackett won the Adelaide Uprising with 20 of these bad boys in it. 2 units of 10 in Solar Watch, advancing and charging around the board, tying people, like wrapping people in combat. I'm sure Captaris to 4-up trap them, or it's a roll-off to trap people in combat. I'm sure he did that a fair few times. And then who wants to tangle with a 10-man brick of Wardens where he started with like 5 CP, 4 CP. I'm sure he went no rerolls transhuman. That's only 4 CP to do. On a 10-man brick in his opponent's deployment zone.
Yeah, that's only if they manage to get out of the combat. Because if you get them to not fall back, then it's
just GG on the spot. Pretty bad. And if you dealt with that 10-man brick and you're like, whoo, well, don't worry, there's a second one, and it's also advancing and charging. Clean in there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good things going on, honestly, with Solar Watch. And especially with the new changes to Custodians and Arks of Omen, that one has really risen up the power rankings. Whereas before, there was really only one shield host that would even have gotten consideration. We wanted to give Solar Watch an honorable mention because they've got a lot of play to them. They
have got a lot of play to them. Mm-hmm. Basically, the way this worked was we picked one shield host, and it made the list automatically.
Yep.
And then we were like, well, there's another one that's been doing really well. Solar Watch.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention.
All right. Well, I think we're done with honorable mentions.
I think so. We're on to the number 10. Dun, dun, dun.
House Herpetrax.
Or as my autocorrect made it, Herpet Tax.
Basically that. And what's up, everyone in the chat? We love seeing you all in here, for the record. I love House Herpetrax.
So what does it do?
All right. So House Herpetrax is it's real simple. It's real straightforward. You just don't even have to remember a thing. It's +2 wounds on everyone, unless you're a big boy, and then it's +4 wounds. That's it. It's just a lot of wounds.
It's just, hey, if you have 10 little boys and a big boy, that is checks notes 24 extra wounds.
Done.
That is 2 extra armigers worth of toughness that's just stapled onto your army.
Yeah, no, and it's beautiful.
That's not the word I'd use for it.
No, it's beautiful.
What if I have damage 3 or damage 4, and I would really like to kill you in 4 or 3 failed saves?
That's just not gonna. It's not the same.
What if I have D3 +3, you go -1 damage, and I'd really like to, on average, kill you in 3 failed saves?
You're super close.
Damn it! Damn it!
It's so good. No, House Herpetrax.
What if I wanted to bracket you, but I could only do 7 damage?
Yeah, that would actually leave me at the top half, even though I'm halfway dead. It's strange how that works.
Damn it!
Yeah, no, House Herpetrax is pretty awesome. It's there are other Chaos Knight houses that I think are super legit, and I think that actually keeps Herpetrax down a little bit. But Herpetrax is baller. It's definitely the most popular Chaos Knight house. Vextrix almost was an honorable mention. It's like an honorable mention. But Herpetrax is still head and shoulders above all the other Iconoclast Knights in my mind. Even with the meta changing, it's still so good. Their Warlord trait, actually super useful. Bow to None is basically that they ignore hit, wound, weapon skill, ballistic skill modifiers, and possibly movement modifiers and charge modifiers.
They don't bow to anyone.
Yeah, they basically don't bow to anyone. Let me be clear.
Occasionally I see a Herpetrax guy who bows to some, and I just, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Then their stratagem is actually pretty annoying. It's not one that I find it myself using often, but every once in a while it's awesome. And I think you just, I don't even remember how it works. I think it's like at the end of the fight phase, like after everyone has fought, you just like on a 6-up, or sorry, it's like on 6 inches, like on a 2-up to Immortal. Honestly, can you pull it up? I'm embarrassed to say that I play Herpetrax and I never use the strat, and I always like read it and be like, I should use that more, and then I play a game of Herpetrax and forget to use the strat.
Unfortunately. Hell heck.
Almost got it. But it's just splashing a little bit of extra mortal wounds in with the strat. Good defense across the way.
End of the fight phase. Select one House Herpetrax model from your army. Roll 1d6 for each enemy unit within 6 inches.
Okay, good so far.
On a 2 to 5, they take 1 mortal wound. On a 6, they take D3.
Yeah, it's that.
Bow to None ignores all modifiers to their characteristics except from suffering damage. Ignores any roll modifiers to hit, wound, or damage rolls. And then anytime it advances or declares a charge, it ignores all modifiers to its advance or charge rolls.
Got it. Yeah.
And then it has the Crown of Jadathra, which is
it like,
-1 to hit in combat.
It's so close to great. It's not that one.
Just not.
It's not that one.
No, it's not.
I know the relic I don't take. No, Herpetrax is freaking amazing.
It
makes me happy.
Absolutely is. There's usually parts to these that we'll know like clean off the top of our heads, and then there's parts like, oh yeah, and they also have a relic that does a thing, I guess. Yeah. You don't take it.
I'm not going to lie to you. I could not have told you what the relic did.
Yeah.
I knew it was called the Crown of Jadathra, but if you didn't ask me what does that do,
the hardest part.
I would have lost the rest of it, honestly. I would have guessed like maybe it's double wounds for like bracketing, and I would have been wrong. Can we get an honorable mention for Necrons who just no longer have subfactions that matter in Arks?
The Obsec Dynasty
I thought Necrons
would have been number 1.
I thought Necrons were a subfaction. Yeah, seriously though, like the combo of
pre-game move and
that would have been number 1.
Would have been number 1
very
with a
recently.
bullet, no question. Unfortunately, just Obsec or the pre-game. It really is, by the way, just the pre-game move. Because if you take the pre-game move, you can combo it with checks, notes, literally nothing that does anything. Yeah. So you can take the pre-game move, and I was thinking about it, and then I was like, wow, you can. Honestly, they're so inconsequential, I don't even remember them. Yep. They were just like, didn't exist.
It's super sad.
It's sad. It's sad. So you just Nihilak, which is not exciting enough to do anything about. Mm-hmm. Anyway, speaking of things that are exciting.
Yeah, are we ready to move on to number 9?
I think so. I think so.
All right, number 9. We have Ulthwé. Craftworld Ulthwé.
A subfaction veritably jam-packed to the gills with rules.
Trying to think, do I know all of their rules off the top of my head? I have
them here. So.
I think I do.
Okay.
I think I can get Ulthwé here.
All right. We're gonna go, by the way, from a subfaction with like 10 rules to a subfaction with 1 rule in just a second.
I know I've got number 8 down.
Yeah.
All right. So Ulthwé's trait is reroll a wound roll, and a 5 up against mortals, and a 6 up invul, and +1 to cast on the first spell that you attempt per Psyker?
Yeah.
Is that all 4?
It's all 4. Yeah.
Okay. Solid. 4
traits.
4 traits is that's a common theme, by the way. If you get 4 traits, you're probably good.
Bent Monkai.
Stratagem is Black Guardians, which is 1 CP +1 to hit for someone with the Guardians keyword.
Yep, Ulthwé Guardians.
Okay.
Shoot.
Oh, it's Ulthwé Guardian. Okay, of course.
Yeah, but like, you know what's a Guardian? A weapon platform. Just saying.
Yep. Warlord trait is if you roll an unmodified 9. Or Warlord trait is get an extra fate dice to roll.
Okay.
And then I'm probably mixing up the relic and the warlord trait. And the relic is if you roll an unmodified 9 on a psychic test, it can't be denied. Am I flipping those two?
You were not flipping them. You got them both slightly wrong.
Slightly wrong. All right.
So Fate Reader is the warlord trait. You get to hold an additional die, not roll an additional die.
Oh, right. That's the other.
You're thinking of the Weeping Stones.
You're right.
Okay.
I am.
But honestly, the combo of the two, Weeping Stones plus Fate Reader, is like pretty crazy. And then the Ghost Helm of Shaziers, if you roll an unmodified 9, it cannot be denied, and you know an extra power.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, off the Runes of Fortune Discipline, which, by the way, does not actually include the Power Fortune. That is ludicrously, and yes, Kelly has it right. There's actually, the best part of Ulthwé is not in the trait. It's that guy, right?
Eldrad.
Right?
What a lad.
Yeah, Eldrad. You may play Eldrad, who is an absolute insane Eldar.
Yeah, he's not a human.
No, I was going to say he's an insane human,
do not
but he's
confuse
an insane
that.
Eldar.
Indeed.
The dude, I mean, honestly, I played him. I was the first out of the house to play him because I like Eldrad, and Eldrad is cool, and he does the psychic.
Yeah, the rest of those idiots were playing Ignore, Cover, Hail of Doom.
Well, yeah, obviously I was doing it worse, but that's okay. I was doing awesome stuff.
Because it was Eldrad.
Yeah, it was Eldrad. So, and I was also just filling time for me to pull up Eldrad's rules.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. His stats are pretty good, like just across the board. Just pretty good. He has a 4-up invuln and is transhuman, period. And he can reroll psychic text.
Yeah. He's just a Farseer who's a little bit beefier. And he just walks around knowing and casting a third spell, right?
Yeah,
knowing and casting a third?
Knows and... yes, he knows 3 powers. He can cast 3, deny 2. Mm-hmm. He is transhuman with a 4-up, and he rerolls his psychic tests. And his warlord trait is Fate Reader.
Super convenient.
Yes.
Just like look at that, would you?
Yeah, that
would you guess?
Yes. The correction is you must play Eldrad. Yeah, if you play Ulthway and are not taking Eldrad, I'm coming to your house.
With malicious intent?
With a cake.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
And with the words, do better, you can do better.
Okay, you must play Eldrad.
You must play Eldrad, you fool!
Yeah, well, there is one reason not to play Eldrad.
Yes, what if all of those rules were not as good as one single rule?
It would have
to
be...
Just to list it off, right? Just to list it off, you get Eldrad, which is the best character in Eldar. Like, he just is. Then, you get +1 to cast... They're honestly, in my mind, they're about even.
Okay.
You get Eldrad. You get +1 to cast on each Psyker for 1 power.
Mm-hmm.
You get a 6-up invuln, which is amazing with Fate dice. It means anything in your army can all of a sudden just be like blank the save on anything.
I hate that.
So you get 6-up invuln, which matters. You get a 5-up against mortal wounds. You get to reroll a wound roll. You get to tell your indirect batteries to get +1 to hit.
Hate that.
Which is so stupidly good. You get to hold an extra Fate die, and you get to know an additional power on your Farseer, and if you're an unmodified 9, you cannot be denied, which is amazing when you can spend a 6 on, when you can spend a 3 to be a 6 on a casting roll. So a 3-up on the other die means you can't be denied, and you just do your psychic rituals. Yeah. All of those, every single one of those rules combined is not as good as this one rule. Yeah. And what is that, John?
It's Hail of Doom.
It's Hail of Doom.
Yeah. Hail of Doom single-handedly makes Eldrad rarely seen.
That was the dumbest tier list we've ever done. That was the dumbest take on a tier list ever, I'm going to say. Yeah. Somehow Siegs' tiers manipulated Nick. It was Siegs' tiers that he named, and then Nick read it and was like, well, you don't see Eldrad very much because Hail of Doom's crazy, so clearly Eldrad's not so good, so he falls into functionally C tier. It was so stupid. All right.
Man, I didn't realize I was going to launch Jack that far on a tangent. Anyway, let's talk about Hail of Doom. Hail of Doom got nerfed in that it used to be not all-consuming, and you could pair this with whatever you wanted. Now, you cannot do that, and it still is the best Eldar subfaction.
It just is.
It's good old Hail of Doom. Tell me what Hail of Doom does.
So Hail of Doom, I just listed off a billion rules. Hail of Doom, 6s to hit with shuriken weapons count as 6s to wound. That's it. That's all it does. And it's the best Eldar subfaction by a decent amount.
Only one place.
By only one place, but
Ulthway's got some real play. I have respect for Ulthway.
Ulthway is good. If I were to run Eldar to an event, I would run Ulthway because I think they're cooler.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, Hail of Doom is boring.
Hail of Doom is very boring, but it is very powerful.
Yeah, remember when you could ignore cover with Hail of Doom and also Armor of Contempt didn't exist? You remember those days?
Yeah, Eldar murdered Marines like it was their job. I played Death Watch into Nick's Eldar, and he's like, "Oh no, you're playing Death Watch," and he just shredded every model on my board.
Yeah. It's every Marine model on the board just died. It was horrible.
Basically, what this means is that your damage output skyrockets with shuriken weapons.
Yeah, because it turns Guide into Doom, but then you also still have Doom somewhere else.
Yep.
Wild combo, by the way.
And it also means you don't need rerolls on a lot of your shurikens because you're just double dipping for the shuriken keyword, like shuriken roll. The damage output potential has to be seen to be believed.
It really is one of those things where also you need to see like Nick roll 11 6s on 30 dice.
After he's like hemming and hawing about Bladestorm, and then he goes Bladestorm and rolls 11 6s. And you're like, well, that's why I did it.
Yeah, I did it because I knew I was going to roll above average, and you just got to strangle him real quick. Oh, yeah, no, Hail of Doom, it's so simple. It's pure in its purpose, which is to spam shuriken weapons and then shoot people with them. And there's nothing that really gets around that, because even like the no reroll wounds armies, because there's no reroll hit armies.
Yes.
Like other than whatchamacallit, Harlequins. It's like the only way to get like widespread no rerolls to hits.
Yeah, basically.
But then you just shoot them with shoot them with a bucket of strength 6 and roll the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
And it kind of works out.
And you still can reroll the wound roll there, and it does work against the foot troops. And even there, like if you can put damage on target, that's all you need.
It's also like Overwatch is I literally just auto hit like every hit auto wounds. I hate that part.
That's so good.
Yeah, whenever
especially
you like charge
a guided unit.
Oh god, the guided unit. Because like if you like charge a Dire Avenger unit that's not in defensible terrain, and they have guide on it, on average they kill an intercessor squad with a little bit of room for change.
Not quite, because 33 shots is about with full rerolls to hit is about 11.
Yeah, that's a dead squad.
At AP3,
it's not AP4.
Oh god, it is AP4.
Yeah, no, it's a dead Marine squad.
It's like 10. It's like it kills them on the nose, which is so stupid.
There's not much room to spare. It's about 11.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's
imagine killing exactly one Dire Avenger out of a unit, which is a thing that happens sometimes. Then they double shoot with Guide and Doom, and you just and Blade Storm, and you just instantly die.
Yeah, Hail of Doom is how you make Scarab Cult Terminators use their invulns against damage 1. That is completely correct and embarrassing every time.
This is the most balanced iteration of a 6 to hit counts as a 6 to wound because they didn't staple a whole lot of extra 6s to wound to do a thing on the end of it.
But like, there's every shuriken weapon has a 6 to wound does a thing. Every single one. It literally can't have an effect without getting a 6 to wound effect. You're backtracking and you're like, oh god.
Yeah, I just think of it as built in. Like I just think of it as AP4 in my head, but they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be. You're right.
What have you done?
I'm thinking of all the mortals and stuff on the end of it. Where
they didn't staple mortars.
Where you can stack rules on top of each other. There was a thought process behind it.
You're good, man. No, it's all right. I like that it's one dimensional and that you don't get another trait. I honestly think that I think that the solution to Hail of Doom is to make the non-shuriken weapons better. Because the problem is that shuriken weapons do everything.
Shuriken weapons also, without Hail of Doom, are not that impressive.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, I don't mind Hail of Doom existing. I just wish that they, made the rest of Eldar a little more interesting so that there'd be a reason to take a non-Hail of Doom.
Yeah. Hail plus ignores cover was just way too much. I think Hail is fine. Balanced.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I think Eldar is, on the slight edge of too good, but not enough that I'm arguing for a nerf.
Yeah.
I'm just slightly annoyed at it.
I'm just happy it caught nerfs at all.
That's true, right? Given Eldar's track record with GW nerfs.
Yeah.
Jeez. Anyways, we think Hail of Doom is an awesome sub-faction, and it improves Eldar by a lot. But there's another thing on the list. There's actually 7 things on the list.
That's it.
Yeah. You ready?
It also, Hail of Doom really helps Eldar kill tanks, whereas they don't kind of do that otherwise.
Well, that's the problem, is that they have anti-tank weapons like fire dragons and bright lances.
And they're terrible.
And D cannons and all these things. And somehow they made a Dire Avenger the best anti-tank weapon in the Codex. And it's like, oh. Well, in that case, yes, Hail of Doom is in fact the best trait because it lets Dire Avengers kill Leman Russ with more reliability than I'm comfortable with.
Sure, but here's the thing. Bright lances and D cannons are fine, and I will not say that they're better than fine. But every other anti-tank weapon in that book is garbage.
Correct.
So, I'm okay with him.
No, I agree. I wish they would make those a little bit better rather than have Hail exist, but so be it.
I would probably, if I were running Oathway, include a unit of D cannons, because I'd 1 CP plus 1 to hit, and then it would all be, again, fine.
Almost fine.
It would be fine.
Let's talk about something that's more than fine.
Let's talk about something that makes me very happy.
This does make Jack very happy.
Not just one Caladius, but multiples. There's a third one just off screen. You can't see it. But don't worry, it can see you, and it's going to shoot you.
Yeah, and this is the Emperor's Chosen.
This is the Emperor's Chosen.
This is the shield host that we personally feel is still best, although kudos to Solar Watch for keeping things interesting.
Absolutely.
And we actually, I think, are going to try to get Solar Watch in the streams sometime in the next couple weeks. We'll see when that actually happens. Yes. But we want to try that out because we think they're dope.
I love my Emperor's Chosen. I love them so much. They were basically what I stuck to from, honestly, day one. I don't think I've played I played Shadowkeepers a couple times.
I think when we started the testing, we alternated Shadowkeepers and Emperor's Chosen, and after a weekend, we were like, nah, it's this one.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Emperor's Chosen is just baller. It's so good. So, first off, the trait. The relic, the warlord trait.
The strat.
The warlord trait's great. The relic is horrible. It's one of the worst relics I've ever seen. It's what if your Guardian Spear's +1 strength or something? It's terrible. I'm sure I'm missing part of it, but I don't care. It's trash. The trait, the trait is you get to reroll a hit or a wound anytime you shoot or fight, which is amazing on low number of attacks, high quality of attacks that hit on 2s, often wound on 2s, or wound on 3s attacks. Like, love that. That's so good. A lot of the time you'll be hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 3s, rerolling 1s, and then you reroll 1, and it's just like, well, here's 100% wound rate. Like,
Yeah, I don't know about you. I managed to reroll my 1s into 1s pretty often.
okay, yeah, fair enough.
Ballistic Skill 2 Graph
can help
Cannon
that.
yesterday just wasn't doing what I thought it would.
That's fair. But Emperor's Chosen really helps out with that consistency.
Yep.
And then the other part of it is you get a 4-up Feel No Pain against mortal wounds.
And there are games where that doesn't matter.
It's few. Actually, it's very few games where it doesn't matter. Most armies, if you only have the 6-up, will reach into their back pocket and pull out 2 smites and delete half a unit with them.
Yeah.
And if...
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, if you have Emperor's Chosen, they can like have Magnus stand in front of you and kill a guy. It's pretty great. But as John was saying, there's some games where it doesn't matter. Sure.
But there's a lot.
There's a lot where it does. You know what your opponent really wants to do to your, well,
2-up armor, 4-up invul, no rerolls, guys?
2-up armor in cover, maybe a 1-up armor in cover with the shields.
Who knows?
With a 4-up invul and, relatively low wound count for your points. They would like to mortal wound you out. What if they just didn't get to?
The 4-up, like, they come with a 6-up Feel No Pain just for being custodies against mortals. And you would think that a 4-up is like, instead of passing 1 out of 6, you pass 3 out of 6. And that sounds like what the math should be. But for some reason, Custodies players don't respect the laws of 4-ups. And they never have, and they probably never will as long as they have a 4-up to roll. So for whatever reason,
they had to take the 4-up away.
This 4-up against mortal wounds feels like I fail 1 Feel No Pain no matter how many you hand me. If I smite them for 1 damage, it goes through. If I super smite for 6, 1 goes through.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. I've super smited for 9 in Emperor's Chosen, and at that point, I did get 2 through, and I felt very proud of myself.
Well done.
That's about all you can ask for. I
reduce all mortal wounds to 1. It's
reduce
easy.
all mortal wounds to 1. It's just like, what?
it's such a great defense. Like, it really is, because people try to get around your defense, or there's
your golden goodness.
Exactly. Like, especially because your units are not just tough, they also have stratagems on top of them that make them very tough.
True.
And you don't have a Feel No Pain on most of them. And if
that.
they're trying to mortal wound you out, if they're trying to deal with a unit that's dug in cover, no rerolls, transhuman, they're going to try and smite it a couple times before putting damage on. What if those smites did functionally nothing, is what it feels like. That's
exactly what happens.
That's not all. Also, there's plenty of units that have like, I'm going to toss 3 mortal wounds on top of my normal damage, and that's how I do my average amount of damage. I'm like, nah, you don't get that part of it. You just get your normal damage. Yeah. But that's not all. There is also a warlord trait and a stratagem. There is no relic. We do not talk about the relic.
All right.
It's so bad.
Let's hit that warlord trait.
The warlord trait is for every model you kill, you get an extra attack up to 4, Ark Exemplar.
Yep.
This is way better than I thought it was when I first put it in my list. And I just put it in because I was like, screw it. And then my 6 attack guy killed 10 models. I was like, oh.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Because you can pair it with that tip of the spear to get reroll 1s to hit and wound, and then he goes in with weapon skill 2, rerolling 1s, strength 7, usually +1 to wound on the charge, rerolling 1s, and AP3 damage 2, and
has a Misericordia.
Yeah, you can kill. I mean, basically, it's just does your opponent make saves because you're doing your part of the process.
Yeah.
Here's like how many saves they got.
Here's 6 strength. Here's 6 AP3 damage 2 saves. And there's probably 4 more coming on top of it. It's crazy reliability.
Shockingly good odds to kill 10 guardsmen with this.
Yeah.
Like, so because that Misericordia is just that little twist of the knife at the end.
Yeah, like, oh, I missed one of my 2-up rerolls. Anyway, here's a Misericordia that I'm going to use my Emperor's Chosen reroll on, and it killed a guy. So that's 4 more attacks with the spear, and you're dead. It's so good. It lets him go into units and just delete entire units. Even against heavier armored things, like you go in, you kill 2, you get 2 more attacks, you kill 1 more. It's like, all right, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
The stratagem is also an insane toolbox. 1 CP, they nerfed it. They unnerfed it recently. 1 CP, you pick one of your units, and it becomes a different shield host.
Yes.
Yes.
And that is super awesome for getting fallback in charge without having to be Solar Watch.
Yes.
Because you don't need to fall back in charge often with Custodies.
Just once.
But like when you do, it's super important.
Yeah.
But like, is it so important that you're going to give up being Emperor's Chosen? I don't know. Honestly, if this stratagem is what like puts it over the tiebreaker for me.
Yeah.
because I don't have to worry about the off-case scenarios where I really wish I was someone else.
My favorite thing that I couldn't do until they unnerfed it and made it more than once a game is I would pick a character and I would make them Shadow Keepers.
Yeah.
Because I believe you get the trait on top of Emperor's Chosen. It does.
I actually want to say that it's instead of.
Maybe it's Abaddon that got it.
Abaddon gets it on top.
Abaddon gets it on top.
I think Emperor's Chosen's
These get
instead
it
of. Because I have to keep reminding myself not to use the free reroll whenever I do this.
Yeah.
Because I always want to.
But what I would do is I would turn a character into Shadow Keepers and stand it
in heroic range of wherever you want.
Yeah, in heroic range of the front of my unit, and then if you charge me, he heroics in, you become -1 attack, and it's
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a guy. And that's when I pop other stratagems, and my unit suddenly just completely doesn't die, and then you die, and it's great.
Yeah.
That toolbox is really good. You can, your opponents throw in modifiers. All right, we're going Emissaries Imperatus. It's just a great toolbox that they gave back to the army. It used to be once a game, which meant you always saved it in case you got locked up in combat.
Yeah. Okay. Just in case you had a Custodes Dreadnought in combat with one idiot, and you're like, wow, I really don't want to not move, but if I fall back, I do nothing. And then you're like, oh, no, we're just going to... Someone else will shoot this guy, and I will get movement before I charge.
Yes.
Easy.
So, Emperor's Chosen is just a crazy toolbox that solves basically all of Custodes' issues.
Isn't that beautiful?
And it's amazing. I love Emperor's Chosen. I could talk about them forever, and I basically already have.
Indeed. Well, as we're talking about EC, I feel like we should take a second, talk about the other EC, and then acknowledge some of these super chats.
Let's do it.
First up, we got a super chat from Nurgle Matt. Nurgle Matt is hitting us with the blessed numbers. Thank you, Matt. $7.77.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Jack a snack. You don't have to roll up to people. Send Nurgle. He'll tell him, bring the thing, elves.
You think Nurgle's on Team Eldrad? Because I know Eldred's not on Team Nurgle.
I mean, Eldrad really hates Slaanesh.
I'm
sure he'd team up with Nurgle if he would get rid of Slaanesh.
Well,
they don't like each other.
Aren't Nurgle and Slaanesh cool with each other? No, it's Khorne and Tzeentch hate each other. Nurgle and Slaanesh hate each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all the Chaos Gods kind of hate each other.
They all really hate each other, but then there's two pairs that really, really hate each other. It's a whole thing.
It's
you don't want
main rivals and then people I also hate.
Yeah, you don't want to get in the middle of that.
No, absolutely not. I'll stick with the Emperor. All right, thank you for your support, Nurgle Matt. And next up is Red Drum. Red Drum with the super chat. Thank you so much. What do you think of Emperor's Children in the new meta? Where do they stand competitively? So Emperor's Children, now, full caveat here. You should check out an article on Goonhammer that one of the Art of War coaches, Anthony Vanella, just published a couple days ago. So look up the Emperor's Children article on Goonhammer.
That is probably going to be your best answer for it because he has played Emperor's Children a lot. And he's put a lot of thought into how they're going to play post Arks of Omen.
Now, the fact that I have played 0 games with Emperor's Children is not going to stop me from giving an answer.
Absolutely
not.
Combined 0 games. High five. Let's go.
There we go. Hopefully that didn't kill the mic.
Probably did.
Anyways, my take on Emperor's Children is that their secondaries are still not good enough. And you are more fragile than before.
Their secondary got way better. Got way better.
I agree. Still not good enough.
Their secondaries, the whole
package.
The
package of 3. No, you're much more likely to take the Emperor's Children secondary than before.
Adorn the canvas eclectic.
Obviously. But I don't think I love the secondary package that you've got there. Yeah. So I think that you're still going for violence, and you're still trying to kill people. And I don't mind mid-legionnaire squads. I still really like mid-noise marine squads.
Yeah. I think, what Anthony told me a bit back, so I don't know if his opinion has changed since playing with it, because that's kind of what opinions do, is that Emperor's Children is going to be one of the better ones because you can take a Terminator brick and
still make it chunky.
Still make it so it doesn't die, and then it's very, very fast around the board with Honor the Prince. They're honoring the heck out of that Prince.
Yeah.
And you can still make it so between, 4 up to hit, no rerolls to hit, 5 up, feel no pain, -1 to wound. You can still make it so it doesn't functionally die and get a guy back every turn. And that will be something you can put out in the center. But you should check out that article. It's probably going to be the best Emperor's Children resource in Arks of Omen that will be on the internet, that you can find.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. We ready to move on to number 6 on our list?
Absolutely. This is one that hopefully I'm playing today.
No, this feels like a long list of Subfactions for Jack. But you know what? Pop off, gang. These are the Goths.
Goths? Love Goths. Goths are my favorite way to play Orcs, not close. Death Skulls are good. They could have been an honorable mention. They're a little unproven. Love Goths. Goths are so much fun. So, what do they get? They get 6s to hit, are an extra hit, which is great, because the army... There is Gazgul right here, right? And he does give rerolls to hit.
Keep going.
No, I'll wait.
You're doing great.
Thanks. John doesn't like Orcs. John doesn't like Orcs.
What? Oh, God, he's still talking about Orcs. Hold on, I'll be back. Jack's really being stubborn here. All right, hit me with the Arks.
All right. So Gazgul gives full reroll aura. I don't like Gazgul. I don't take him. He's awesome. I think he's too many points. So Orcs generally don't have rerolls, and having 6s to hit or 2 hits really helps get around that fact.
True.
Yeah. And then +1 strength. Army-wide is just real good at strength stacking, because you're, strength 4, but +1 for Goths, +1 for Wog, and now you're strength 6 with your basic troops. Pretty good. Or strength 7 with your beast snaggers, and you're just
it's a lot of strength.
What is this?
And then you get your power claws to randomly strength 12, and I'm like, oh sure, okay.
Yep. Their stratagem is expensive, but you use it sometimes. It is, instead of 6s to hit, count as 2 hits, it's 5s to hit. So when you need it, that's pretty good. Also, the Orc army hits on 2s most of the time because you have war bosses nearby.
Yeah,
it's pretty
you don't
solid.
need rerolls.
You don't need rerolls. And then the Warlord trait is also pretty good. It's Proper Killy. Proper Killy is +1 AP, +1 attack. That's simple. But it's really, really, really good on a beast boss on Squigosaur.
It's really good in general. Just extra AP, extra attack. Get some explosions in there.
It's Gaz's Warlord trait because he has an embarrassingly low number of attack space.
Yeah,
so
you can always use more.
Yeah, but it's really good on a beast boss on Squigosaur. Take him to AP3 with a really respectable number of attacks. The +1 strength on them takes him up to strength 8. It's really good.
It feels very orky that orcs in general hit hard, don't shoot that hard, and then there's subfactions to shoot better. There's subfactions to punch better. And the best one is not just punch him better.
Punch him hard.
Just punch him better.
Punch him so hard.
Yeah, just hit harder in combat. The thing you already probably do best, just do it more.
Yeah.
And it's now if you lose half the army and then do it, you're still good enough.
Goths also offsets kill rigs a significant amount. Offsets their degradation table, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So you're degraded, right? Oh, I only have D3 attacks. I'm at my bottom bracket. It's okay, so you have D3 attacks +1 for the Wog, and then your strength is lower, so that increases your strength. It goes to strength 4, then goes to strength 5, then 6 with the Wog, then 7 with the weapons, or 8 with the weapons. So you're back to strength 8 from strength 4. That's really good, and then you have exploding 6s to hit. So all of a sudden you're wow, I basically am not bracketed at all. It's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great. And then you have the saw blades and everything, and don't get me started on saw blades.
I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Goths just hit ludicrously hard, and that is basically what Orcs want. Yeah. The rest of it is just mucking around, mate.
I thought we got a little Australian for that one.
Whatever.
I wish Nick was here.
Orcs.
I wish Nick was here for the number 5 spot. I really do. But
very glad he isn't.
Oh, it's all right. We are moving on to number 5, the Masters of Misinformators. That is the trait. I
looked it up. I know.
There we go.
Master Misinformator is the trait.
This is the cult of duplicity. I wasn't even going to say it. But anyways, this is the Thousand Suns cult. Because duplicity is the one that lets you teleport. And
it's
also
just he doesn't know what the word duplicity means.
I don't know what to tell you, man. Anyways, the cult of duplicity is baller. And it's probably the most popularly taken one. Actually, I'm not even... Not probably. It is the most commonly taken cult.
It's
the only taken cult. You see it in every competitive Thousand Suns list. It is so much better than the next for Thousand Suns that you just don't consider the other options. Because Thousand Suns, I'm going to be honest, they're kind of slow.
They're really slow.
They move 5, and then every once in a while you get a really good unit in there that moves 6.
Yeah, that's
it. That's it. And you know what? Maybe your HQ moves 12, but he needs to stay in lookout, sir. So you just stay with the guys that move 5. And then duplicity lets you teleport.
Yeah.
And you know what? Also, slow moving units like doing? Deploying on the line and not finding out. And having a redeploy is just great for that.
It's pretty good. Honestly, teleporting is kind of a redeploy, so a lot of people cut the redeploy.
But you don't have to have it. But having the option's real nice.
It is a very.
It definitely got cut more when you had to take demon allies and your CP got really tight. But now that you're not paying CP to take demons, if I was taking Thousand Suns, that
it does look a lot tastier.
Does look a lot tastier.
Yeah, it's just there's some cool things in other, whatever they're called, in other cults, great cults. There are cool things in there.
Oh yeah.
But then you ask yourself, does this let me teleport? And you're like,
none of them do.
No, it
the
doesn't.
Darndest thing.
It's crazy. Like, they just don't let me teleport. And you're like, well, so I'm not going to talk about Cult of Mutation or Cult of Knowledge or Cult of Knowledge.
Cult of Magic, I think, is one of them.
You know what I like better than this Ferrari? It's my Cult of Knowledge.
All right. I like that Sanok the Fate Twister is saying that their Thousand Suns list is fast because it teleports 2 units a turn. Yeah, well, if you were any other cult, your list would not be fast. Because then you wouldn't teleport 2 units.
Speed wins games. Yep. Teleporting is a substitute for speed, and especially on a shooting army.
Yep. It's just so mandatory.
Yeah, other great cults literally just don't do anything. They just wander around the board 5 inches a turn and just don't do anything.
Cult of Mutation is cute. Aggressively fine.
It's aggressively fine.
I think, are they the one that they slow down the enemy near terrain features?
I think they do mortals near terrain features. Like, you pick a terrain feature, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. I've looked over them like 3 or 4 times and asked myself, does this teleport?
It still doesn't.
Still doesn't.
All right. Well,
and Dalton Peters, I will not be fighting you because orcs are literally the most fun army in the game, and Goth's orcs are the funnest out of the orcs.
Really? I thought Death Skulls were more fun. Okay, fair enough. All right, Jack likes...
Death Skulls score...
Jack likes rolling more 6s than 1s and then just laughing about it.
Bam.
All right.
Get hit harder, fool.
Yep, kind of sucks that they have the most sub-factions and only one viable. Yeah, no, I can understand that.
They paid someone to write multiple pages of rules that don't functionally exist.
Yeah, there's 8 pages that just don't even need to be there.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to have Zinch's number. All right, let's go into...
9? Isn't Zinch's number 9?
Yeah, but there's 8 pages that don't exist because duplicity is one of them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, no, there's 9 pages and one of them matters.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's... Does it teleport?
No. All right.
Oh, I do this cool thing. Does it let you move faster than 5 inches? No.
Let's talk about another faction here.
Absolutely.
Another one that has been the mainstay, and that is Bloody Rose. Bloody Rose has been the sisters, order for a while, mainly because it's baller, and also you get a supplement, and all the other supplements don't exist now because Martyr Lady's gone. So now you are the only sister sub-faction with a supplement, and you are also the best trait going in. It's a good combo. What Bloody Rose gives you is +1 AP and attack in first round of combat.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. You just take sisters, which is an army that looks like it's supposed to be a melee army, but doesn't quite cut it. And then you make it good enough to actually matter.
Yeah, it's... basically sisters are a melee army. They're a very close to pure melee army.
Yeah.
That doesn't hit hard in melee.
Yeah, and it's super sad. And then you just end up grabbing that and just stapling on actual melee rules. And all of a sudden you're like, oh right. There it is. Yeah. Now it's a melee army.
Yeah, it feels like Repentia and Zephyrim do what they should do in Bloody Rose, and then anywhere else it's like, what am I looking at here?
Yeah. Now I do want to give a small call out before we go into the full Bloody Rose rant to Valorous Heart, which I think is actually pretty decent. And I actually want to take Valorous Heart in the future because I already know that Bloody Rose is good. But
it's also, by the way, Bloody Rose are the Goths of sisters in that it's the most fun way to play the army.
That is true. It is much more fun than Valorous Heart.
Yeah.
Bloody Rose just hits so much harder. Bloody Rose Repentia hit super hard. Because AP4 and an extra attack. Yeah, the first time that you charge someone with Valorous Heart Repentia, and they're like, all right, where's the second wave? I'm like, yeah, Chief, that was actually all the Repentia attacks.
Oh, 2 attacks a model, huh?
Yeah, they're just actually 2 attack space when you like read the data sheet. It's like, wow.
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 Yeah. Yeah, I failed my chant on them, so they're just, this unit of 8 is 16 attacks. I'm like, you mean I live?
God, a unit of 8 is 16 attacks, isn't it?
You mean I
EP3,
live?
people get saves. It's It's so sad.
It's rough, yeah.
But anyways, but Bloody Rose is amazing because Bloody Rose gives you a pretty good stratagem and a pretty good warlord trait and an amazing trait. Not a relic that I care about, although it's fine. And then it gives you a supplement with a lot more stratagems. And that helps out a lot because the stratagem gives you scout moves on your rhinos. Well,
good.
scout move on one rhino. But you know what? It's a full scout move, not the 6-inch Dominion scout move, with the upside of you don't have to have Dominions in the rhino.
And if you really want to, you're a sick puppy, and this is how you like to get your kicks. You can also take Dominions in other rhinos, and you can scout move those.
You could even do that if you really wanted a lot of rhinos.
You are a sick puppy.
The stratagem support that Bloody Rose gets compared to other orders is insane. Their trait is just makes melee work because when you get, I do like Repention near Scarbrand, but when you just get normal melee units in, it's just not the same. The +1 AP, even with Armor of Contempt gone, not having the +1 AP really is felt. And then just the extra attack adds up so much. And also I really like the Warlord trait. Advance and Charge. This is just the generic
Blazing
one, not
Ire,
even.
yeah.
Yep, not the supplements. This is just from the Codex. Advance and Charge with +1 attack on a canvas just lets you deliver Word of the Emperor in places that it otherwise wouldn't be. Yes, Tim, they really should genuinely just make the Bloody Rose traits into the Passion and turn the Passion into the Bloody Rose trait. They really should.
I don't think that's what he was saying, but
I honestly no. I think that would be a way to do it.
I think Zephyrim and Repentia just need to have +1 AP, +1 attack.
Yeah, that's probably true.
They just do. They don't need to have an additional +1 AP, +1 attack in Bloody Rose.
They just need to be AP4.
With
I think I could accept
attacks?
Zephyrim at AP3. It's a power sword. Yeah,
fine,
but give him an extra attack, make Repentia AP4. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane how you get to a point where it's like, oh yeah, Repentia kill all the Scarab Cult Terminators. Hold on, I'm not Bloody Rose. I killed none of them. How did this happen?
Yeah.
It's just I don't know how to tell you. It just is so much worse. Bloody Rose, it really just stands so head and shoulders above the rest of the Sisters subfactions that it got a really high spot in the list. Just like that.
Yeah.
All right.
Typically, you know what? Looking through this, the melee subfactions are the most fun. Mm-hmm. Bloody Rose, Goths. We're about to go to something that isn't, but anyway, go to the next. So my statement.
Yeah,
makes
I was
sense.
Gonna. There you go.
I saw someone in chat say that Cronus is the most fun way to play Space Dwarves. This is not Cronus. This is Ymir.
Yeah.
But yeah, the melee subfactions are the most fun. The ones that amp your melee damage. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just fun to hit hard.
Yeah, they are. But instead, we're going to talk about Ymir.
Instead, we're talking about getting beamed off the board.
I don't think I can do the full suite of rules for Ymir. Because I don't know what their Warlord trait and Relic are, I'm going to be honest.
All right.
But I can tell you what Ymir does. And Ymir is, I believe it's +4 inches to the range of all weapons. And when you look through the all the Votan weapons, you realize that they're a really good shooting army that's a little short-ranged. And +4 inches matters.
Especially when you're inside half range and you're...
Especially if you're trying to be in half range. Maybe even if you had like a short-range beam weapon.
Okay, so there's
cool. All right, so hopefully you can still hear us. It looks like we just went red, and we're gonna.
It's not as bad as it was yesterday.
I'll take it.
It's not 0 out, so I think we're just gonna continue with it.
Power throw.
All right, so I have the full suite of rules. Would you like them, sir? Would you like to
rattle off what I can?
Rattle them off to me.
Okay.
So go from start.
Also, for Doug in the chat, I'm pretty sure Ymir is orange. Anyways. Rattling off what I know about Ymir.
Yes.
Is that they've got their trait is +4 inch range. Mm-hmm. It's a 5-up invuln on every model unless it has a base 2-up armor save, at which point it gets a 4-up invulnerable save.
Don't know why they needed to do that, but that's okay.
Don't know why that was necessary. They were like, oh yeah, well if someone has a 2-up armor, then maybe they won't use that 5-up invuln enough, and they feel like they're not getting value out of it. Let's give them a 4-up invuln to make sure that they feel heard. It's like, God, they already have void armor. Why do they just always get saves? Okay. And then their ancestral shindig is that they
Judgment.
get, that one,
Yeah.
is that if you have a judgment token and they happen to be within half range with their weapon, they get +1 AP. Ymir is red. All right, I was wrong. I thought they were orange.
All right, well, you guys gave away the Warlord trait, but it's fine.
Oh, I didn't even read that, so I still don't know.
Yep, Warlord trait is Guild Connections. All weapons the Warlords equip with get +1 damage.
Right. That is cool. I don't know if you can take enough guns for that to matter, but like that's
It's basically, it works on your gun and it works on your combat weapon.
okay.
Like, a champion with a Dark Star axe that is damage 2 all of a sudden is kind of ludicrous, as well as having spontaneously grown a damage 2 4-shot
Fair enough.
rattle gun.
And then I don't know what the relic is either, but their
The
stratagem.
last crest of Jalouk, I don't think you take it.
Okay.
It's basically armor, the 3-up invuln armor. Once a game, pop it, you get 3-up invuln, and he has a 4-up against mortals.
That's probably not necessary, but still dope.
Definitely. It also has to be on a shield crest model. A shield crest you are not going to take, because you do not need a shield crest a shield crest on your guy gives impulse. Whatever. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So here's where we talk about the stratagem.
The stratagem.
And this is why we refer to the Ymir archetype as Ymir Beam Death.
Also,
Because-
taking 18-inch beams to 22-inch beams is kind of
Huge deal. Yeah. Extra range on beams is awesome, and Ymir does it best. And then also, correct me if I'm wrong, it's every time they score a hit with a beam weapon, and they just pick one weapon, they do immortal. So they just pick one beam weapon.
They pick one beam weapon. Every time a hit is scored, they take a mortal wound.
Yeah. And that's not like amazing because usually these things are 2 or 3 shots. But then you take the big beam on the stupid land fort, and every time that rolls a hit roll, it's 2? Question mark?
Yep.
Don't know why.
With 2 shots, as long as it's over 15-inch range.
Yeah, as long as it's over 15 inches
And
away
it goes
from you.
from 30 to 34, so it's a lot easier to get that.
Yep.
Yeah,
And then it's just if you get 2 shots, 2 hits, which, you can make that +1 to hit. You can make it reroll hits. You can CP it if you need. If you get 2 hits off of that beamer, it's just 4 mortals to a target. And 1 CP, 4 mortals, very reliably, turns out to be really good.
It's not just 4 mortals, though.
But then you also hit them with a beam.
Well, you also hit intervening units with that beam.
Right, yeah.
And drop 4 mortals on each of them.
I don't think... I'm still not sure how that works. I don't know if they've FAQ'd that yet. Because technically they don't score a hit, they just make a wound roll on things in between. It's really stupid how they worded it.
All right.
But then they
You're
were
way out of my depth.
Yeah, I don't really know. Okay, they errated that.
They errated it.
Cool. That's good.
Cool.
Still, 1 CP, pick a target, probably do 4 mortals to it. That's
1 CP.
That's good
4
tech when you need
mortals
it.
is really good when you need to amp your damage. You're going to spend that a lot.
oh, it's and Votan are swimming in CP, so just having an extra bank. Here's some mortals is just really good value.
Yeah, I'm sure Richard knows that, but I'm not a.
Of course, make the strat.
I don't know why you would spend for it. So yeah, it's fine.
It's weird. You don't hit intervening units, but you can hit your friendly units, and none of it actually makes sense.
Yep.
But anyways, Ymir is amazing because you take Votan, which is an army that shoots hard and is tough.
Yeah.
And then you make it shoot harder, be tougher.
Yep. And the +1 AP, by the way, matters a lot. Their AP is generally not that great.
Hate that.
All right.
Yeah.
Now our stream is. Let's give it a second.
Yep.
It's struggling. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. We're starting to get that spinny wheel. Oh no. And it's